Okay, so this is Monday morning's review video from last Friday's bell ringer question. You had a question that dealt with the concepts of race and ethnicity. This one was supposed to be a really short one for you, just to kind of get you thinking about this a little bit for the AP exam. The terms race and ethnicity, you need to make sure you can identify significant differences in those terms. With race, we're talking in much the same way as we might have discussed with gender or sex. We're talking about with race, something that is a biological difference from one group versus another. With ethnicity, we're talking about cultural components, learned components, such as language, religion, those sorts of things. Is there a difference in the United States between race and ethnicity? We've had this debate in class before. We talked a little bit about how we use the terms sometimes interchangeably, how they're not necessarily used interchangeably in certain cases. The AP exam has not used the term race or ethnicity in an FRQ. What's happened instead is you hear about ethno-nationalism, or you'll talk about divisive forces that might be trying to pull apart a country based on different ethnic groups. But asking you about the specific differences in race and ethnicity, it hasn't come up. One of the things you need to make sure you understand is these are very complicated ideas because they're not universally accepted. Some countries see race as a very defined element that cannot be changed. Others see race as a flexible element that is based on multiple levels of individual perception. Brazil, for example, recognizes a little over 500 different racial characteristics or racial classifications within its population, and also practices a cultural component where race can change throughout one's life. In the United States, we tend to see things as much more cut and dry, much more concrete, in that race is something that is created at birth as part of a society's views on identity, and then that is who you are. It is your identity, and identity doesn't change. So because of this lack of universal understanding, College Board tends to shy away from it just a little bit. You do need to recognize that this is something that you would deal with more in later classes on cultural geography and sociology and anthropology. You'll even deal with it if you choose to take AP Psychology next year with Mrs. Nolan, Ms. Hanshaw, or Mr. Shaw. So I hope you had a good weekend. Please make sure you're staying up with your review materials, your 3 for 3s, and as always, send me any questions if they happen to come up.